Delayed, our challenges of funding, but our elderly persons are funded by the government. Of course, not all of them. It's supposed to be automatically, by the time they are of the age of 70 going up, it's supposed to be automatic that the government will be giving a specific amount of money, and it's paid through the phone, so you have M-Pesa here, the money transfer, so you can be able to go and access the money either through a bank or from the phone. You can go through an agent and withdraw that money, because initially the older people would lose money. If you send somebody to go get the money on your behalf, then they tend to take the money and not give the person who deserved. And so the direction that it has taken is taking care of the elderly through social protection. Also the persons with disability, we call them differently abled. They need to be registered. Once they are registered, they have a special card. The persons who are differently abled also are tax exempted. When you have not been registered, you do not enjoy those benefits. So you have to be registered. We also have care support infrastructure, and we have also a lot of domestic workers. These are some of the policies of the unpaid workers. There was an amount of money that was announced by the government. Even if a person is working for you in the house, there was a minimum wage. Of course, following up and seeing whether our domestic workers are being paid as per what the government has recommended is also a difficult task, because sometimes you get a young girl from the village who comes, or the auntie brings her to the urban city and tells this person, you can employ her with very minimum, and sometimes they are not even paid monthly. Sometimes they'll be chased away without even being paid the amount after working for a long time. So it's work in progress, and we are working closely with the Ministry of Gender. We are working closely with the Social Protection Department to see how we continue improving day by day. So this is a learning process. On my bill, on the breastfeeding bill, that bill, you can imagine, I started it. I got my baby in the year 2014, so by 2016 it was in Parliament, it was passed. But by the time we passed, because of the bicameral, it had to go to the Senate. Then the Senate delayed. We got to 2017, we went to the elections. When I came back 2018, I revived it. It went through again, it was passed by Parliament. It went to Senate and again died there. So I didn't give up. I have again gone back with it. And now what we did, we took it not through the Committee of Health, because in Kenya, health is, what do I say, it's a function that is been given mandate to the county governments. It's devolved. So if you have any bill that touched on a devolved government, that bill must pass through the Senate. So we now went not through the Health Committee, but through the Social Protection Committee. So now it has gone through the processes. The government has also actually enhanced it. So basically what my bill is saying, if you have a group of employees more than 20, or any public or private building that hosts more than 20 people, there must be a room and not the toilet that is designated for breastfeeding mothers and mothers who have young children. It's just a basic room that has a sitting space that is comfortable, that has a fridge, and that you can also dispense. If you want to buy diapers or the things that mothers require, they can be able to buy in that room, whether it's through the vending machine. But basically, it's just a clean room that has space, that has maybe an elevated space that is soft that a mother can place a baby, and that you can also be able to change, sit comfortably, breastfeed in privacy, and leave. Basically, the numbers to your house to breastfeed, that means you are eating up to the hours you're supposed to be teaching. And we found that once you give a conducive environment for the women to be able to take care of the young ones in an environment that they know they are safe. For big companies, if you have time, maybe Oxfam can take you to a company called Safaricom. Safaricom is our big company, it's a private company. They have a super place where you can actually come with your nanny, and have your child there being taken care of, such that you just need to leave your desk, go breastfeed and come back. And so you're not worried. You left a small baby at home, whether the house girl or the house help decided to run away with the baby. You've seen all sorts of clips, eh? So it can be traumatizing. That means then the women might be forced to sneak out to go look after the baby. And so when mentally you are not comfortable, you can't work. So sometimes you would say you want to restrict, and we even know companies, and those are the ones we're also targeting, that have been firing young girls who get pregnant. Or they don't hire young girls because they say when you get pregnant, or you're told you are hired, but you can never get pregnant. Surely we need the other generations to come. So basically that was the spirit of the bill. It has gotten a lot of support from the ministry, from the partners. We had a forum with women from various places, and it was organized by Oxfam, and we had a deliberation. And it was very nice to see even the men coming up with taglines, and they were saying Nyonyo is nice. You know what is Nyonyo? Nyonyo is a breast in Shania. They were saying Nyonyo is nice, so that we should not intimidate the women who want to breastfeed. And of course, the nutrition value of breast milk, you cannot compare it with anything else. Sure. So having a healthy nation, having healthy children, also having women who have stable mind because they can be able to breastfeed. And the worst still is a woman who would have her breast full of milk and they can't leave the office, they can't pump out the milk. It's a painful experience, and of course the embarrassment that comes in when your breasts start leaking milk. So we just want to clothe women with dignity and to make sure that they are comfortable at their workplace. That is the spirit of the bill. I'm very optimistic that with this parliament, with this now sitting, it's going to, the report of the committee is done. We met, it is done, so it's coming to the parliament. I don't expect the first reading will take a lot of, the second reading will take a lot of time, and we go to the committee of the whole house for the amendments that has been recommended by the stakeholders. We are sure that by the end of this year, the bill will be active because we want it to be active immediately. So we thank you. I thank you. And I hope you've learned something. We have many bills that we have come up with, but I'm very grateful that you chose that one that specifically addresses the comfortability of our women. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the personal story. So that is why this bill is very personal to her, because it was drafted from a personal experience. And one thing again Mushimo has mentioned is that we don't need the foreigners to come and tell us what to do. This is why this setting is very key for us, because we are drafting our own narratives that suit the African woman, and that is what really matters. So any question, any remark, you can have it for in the next 5 minutes, because she's rushing to another meeting that is key for actually for the country.
Yeah, but even if I rush in a meeting, I think I can share my number. You still feel free to talk to me, and we can have further discussion. But we're also going to extend the courtesy because I kept you waiting. It's good we have lunch, isn't it? So even if I'll not sit for long with my team, you can have lunch as we deliberate more, because we have to be strategic this afternoon.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, Mheshimiwa, I see nobody wants to ask. Let me be the first. First, I want to congratulate you for this bill that is really, really key, especially to us mothers and to our children, young mothers in this country. And we wish you all the best. And I'm very sure that it's going to go through this time, because you have now gone through a different angle. So we pray for you, and we pray for all the other parliamentarians to pass it. Now, you've talked of, you are the deputy party leader for Jubilee. Party leader. So with Jubilee, because there are two.
Well, those are our local politics. You only have one Jubilee party.
Yes.
It's only one. And number two, as I said, his position came in as a very heated, what would I say, power struggle.
Yeah.
And number three is that we have a ruling of the at the court that we remained how we were 2022. But you know, you appreciate our former party leader was the former president. So he's no longer active in politics. So for now, until we have an NDC happening and we finish up with the courts, I am representing the Jubilee Party, even as a whip of the, we became a independent parliamentary party. You'll hear me talking about it more this afternoon. We are independent parliamentary party at the National Assembly, so I am the whip of Jubilee Party at the National Assembly.
Let's clap to that. Women power. So congratulations, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
And so we hope that those wrangles will be over. About the majority party in parliament and what have you, we also wish you the best, because now we are in broad-based. And basically for me, I want peace in this country, because when I see what is happening in Congo, I want to say that we want peace in this country. But again, we also pray for justice. But for your position as the Jubilee Party leader, I'm happy and I congratulate you. Thank you so much.
Through the chair?
Yes, please.
Sorry, let me focus on what actually brought us here. As Mombasa County Assembly, we passed a motion where we want to have childcare centers in markets. Because our focus is, we are grateful for your bill, but our main focus is what happens to the informal sector. That woman who is in the market with a young child that is roaming around the market. So the issues of hygiene, the issues of abuse and everything that comes with it. So as a caucus, through a meeting that we shared with the partners of Oxfam, that is our, we saw that it was meaningful for us to actually start a legal framework that most probably will start at county level, but our hope is we want to see it get nationally, maybe regional, and even become a global issue that is put in focus, that we need to have these centers in places where women can actually also exercise the economic activities, something that gives them the same breakthrough. Like a person in an office, but now in the informal sector. Thank you.
Thank you. Actually, that is something that is happening across the nation. We had a conversation with the Ministry of Housing. All the modern markets are being done now. There is that, the childcare center. What I would like to ask the counties, because the national government will not employ people to take care of that section, is that the women caucus kindly lobby your governors to make sure that this market, there is somebody who can, even if it's a social worker, you know, somebody who can be given the responsibility by the county to clean up the place, maybe even to take care of those children. You can informally even engage with the play, games and everything else, such that this mama who comes to the market with a child, a small one, instead of her sitting down where the dust is and everything with the child, that the child can be kept at the child care center, and the mama can do her selling of her vegetables, and in the evening picks the baby and go back home with the baby, goes home with the baby. That is going to really be helpful. So the space is already being created, even with all the modern markets. That's part of what was required in those modern markets. But what we are lacking, and I think we were to visit Ruiru and Githurai markets, they are huge markets. But the space is not being used because there's nobody to take care of the children. So we still go back to the factory setting where women are seated with their children. Yeah.
Just to add to what Sabia said, I think in Mombasa...
Hold on. Because we have a guest here.
Yes.
We can... Yeah.
We want to thank you, Honorable, for the brief you've given us. As you talked about the leaking breasts, you took me back so many years where it was such an embarrassment after work at around 4. I'm walking through town with stained clothes. So thank you very much, and it just helps. It spoke to the issue of why it's important to have people representing themselves even in these spaces, because a man would not be able to relate to that kind of experience. But we also want to thank you even for the process that you've gone through. In Zimbabwe, we need to, WALPE, Women's Academy for Leadership and Political Excellence, has been working with other partners, Oxfam and all, to get the country to recognize formally unpaid care work, unpaid care and domestic work,
to also find ways to reduce the, we were told this morning not to call it burden. I'm trying to remember what you said, to reduce the load that those who are engaged in care work, most of whom we know are women, and to also redistribute as we come up with policies as a country to find ways that we can start to engage different parts of our society. Also get male involvement to redistribute this load, and then the last one to be able to ensure that there's a representation of those that do unpaid care work in whatever policy spaces. So we wanted to, what they've done is from the work that that coalition
on our policy document that was worked on, my advice and my experience being in Parliament is that if you already have help on drafting that kind of a law that you want to pass in Parliament, a motion is okay. A motion works as a way of informing and general public, and even informing the members of Parliament on the importance of that specific maybe proposed law. But sometimes a motion just dies there. You say this House resolves, but following up of a motion to actualize it, maybe sometimes there's supposed to be regulations done by the mother ministry. It takes a long time. You can introduce a motion, but at the same time get one specific member. It is good to lobby through one specific member. Here in Kenya, we have a Kenya Women Parliamentarian Caucus, which is called KEWOPA. That is a mother body of all the members of Parliament who are women. So the senators, the nominated members, the members of single constituencies, and the women rep, they are all under KEWOPA, the Kenya Women Parliamentarian Caucus. But at the same time, it's a huge body that you can lobby through. But by the time you are accessing or going to lobby through the caucus, have a person, a specific member of Parliament who can start moving. Making a law takes a long time because you have first to draft it. It will come through Parliament, through the legal people. They might change the language, they might draft for you so that it is parliamentary. Then after that, what happens here in Kenya, it has to go through the budget committee so that the budget committee can approve whether it's a money bill or not a money bill. And it can die at it. You have to sit, present before the committee, and the committee can also decide to kill the bill. If they think it's not, or if they think you're replicating the law or something, or to give you a go-ahead. So once they give you a go-ahead, that's when the publication of the bill is done. And that's where the work starts. Because then you'll have to have a stakeholders forum where they'll have all of them to come and present. The committee gives, here you have to put it on a newspaper, a national newspaper, and then you give timelines, and they have to give their feedback through emails, through personal presentations and all that. Then after that, then once the committee done, then the report is tabled in Parliament. Then now you can start now the second reading, and then the committee of the whole house when amendments that were taken from the stakeholders, consideration if you need to remove some, if you need to add things. Then now it goes now to the third reading for it to be passed. Then after that, well, here the president must sign or accent to the bill. And if it has no signature, that means the government does not back it up. That means it's again a dead one. So it's good that you lobby, get a specific member who can start doing it now. So as you do it as a motion for information, for the country to know what you're trying to do, also have somebody who is now pushing, because that process for it to become a law is tedious and a long one and takes time.
So just a short one, sorry. What I realized as you were talking, that a lot of the times when those from the gender sector are talking, we always think of our own ministry to move, and then forget that if the Minister of Women Affairs moves this, we already have that whole opposition to it because it's a women's issue. So I caught that we need to be thinking maybe social protection or any of the other ministries to take up the issue of unpaid care and domestic work rather than the Women Affairs Ministry. Thank you so much, Honorable.
Yes. Thank you so much. I just have a quick question. What's the gender disaggregation here in Kenya?
What do you mean by?
What? No. At national level, what percentage of the population are women and which percentage are men?
We are almost half of, but women are slightly more.
Slightly more.
Yeah,
Okay.
we are 50, almost 51% women, and 49. So it's 50 point something women and 49 point something men. Women are more.
Okay.
We have a more population of women.
And
But it does not. Okay, continue.
oh, sorry. And in parliament. In parliament, representation of men and women.
That's what I want to tell you. It does not reflect the representation. Because out of 290 constituencies, we have around 60 that are women elect. Are they even 60? Yeah. We have not achieved a third. We have actually not a third even in the current parliament. Even with the 47 having been elected from the county, we have not achieved 1/3 of the population. So the other question, and maybe the other challenge, we women who are currently in parliament, how do we then woo our fellow women to vote for women? Yeah, that's a big challenge, because when women themselves have not accepted, because even when you talk about even all the top of the presidential candidates, you will rarely hear a woman member, a woman president, but they are deputy presidents, we are there, even party leaders, we have deputy party leaders or secretary generals. We want to play safe, and we don't, yeah. So that's where we are now.
All right, thank you so much for that. I have a last follow-up question. So what has been the reception so far to the breastfeeding bill and the unpaid care and domestic work bill? Because in our research, we've also noted that men tend to be somewhat hesitant to pay attention to issues like this, and they also happen to be gatekeepers of power. If you want to move a motion in parliament, if men are not on board, it's highly unlikely that you're going to get it passed. So I'm wondering, what's been the reception of men? How have you even managed to make it to where you are?
Interesting, because we have a law which is a 2/3 gender rule. I think that's why a majority of these ladies were talking about. First parliament, we tried to push for it, it didn't work. As you said, majority of men didn't support. You know, when they talk about wage bill, they're like, you want to add more women, more handbags in this parliament. So it didn't work. The second one, we even took them out. We had a dance, we convinced them. And because majority of the voters are also women, so men didn't want to be seen that they have objected the 2/3 in parliament. So what they did when it came to times for voting, some walked out. So we had parliament full, but majority of men didn't vote. So what we've learned is to have, we call them he for she, the men who support the female agenda. Yeah, so sometimes use a man so to drive your agenda, and it works. So very thank you. Lordship, the mayor can see him saying his unusual. Thank you very much. It is important. So even not only for the bills, you'll find that the issues like, let's say a challenge that has been here in the country like FGM, when the Ministry of Gender took it upon it to just talk up to the girls or the parents, it became a girls issue. And so the men never understood it. And you see, if for their traditions or their customs that the men are told to not marry a woman who have not gone through the sexual, genital mutilation. So then it becomes very difficult. But we found out that if you approach these boys and explain to them what this FGM is all about, what women go through, the pains, the dangers, they are even the ones who would say, I will not marry a woman who has gone through FGM, because there are dangers during childbirth. I can use that wife. There are dangers, all those things. So they can be able to, once you explain the women issue to men, it can be easier for them to pass. So you must know how to lobby the men and have them on your side. And I can tell things are changing. Now we have senators who have been elected in the counties. We have also women who have been elected as governors in the counties, and it was rare. We only had male governors. So things are changing slowly. And with time, women are also proving, because we have to prove ourselves 10 times that we are better. So you're also very careful on how you dress, how you speak, how you carry yourself. To men, once you are crazy, you become popular. To a woman, you spoil for the rest of the women. So it's a very interesting balancing that women in politics must do to be able to achieve and get where we want to go.